Hello and welcome back to Take a Knee with Mike and JD. I'm JD and it's a solo outing for me today. Mike couldn't make the recording, so this is going to be a small week 2 recap, and then we're going to go over our picks for week 3. So I guess start with Green Bay. Jordan Love looked pretty good. He's continued to impress, at least, even though he's kind of a rookie. This is like his first season starting. He's played pretty well. Had that funny snap where he fell over. Also couldn't lead them back to score. He didn't have a lot of time left. It was hard. You would have liked to see them at least move the ball a little bit there. But, hats off to Atlanta for coming back. That seems like that's been Atlanta's MO the last couple of years, is coming back super late in games. So you almost want to see that. You don't want to lose, but given Jordan Love some adversity in the beginning of the season, they went into Chicago and handled them pretty easily. I think to have Jordan Love face that, get him the feel of that kind of game way early on in the season, should help him and the Packers the rest of the year. As far as for the Steelers, Monday Night Football game, there was unfortunately that bad injury to Nick Chubb. I personally don't think it was dirty. It was a really unfortunate play. Nick Chubb, if you watch him that whole game before he gets injured, he's breaking tackles. All these guys are going up high. Minka's coming in to tackle him at the legs, and just when he's doing that, I believe it was Highsmith was turning Chubb over, and it just hit his knee at the wrong angle. So the initial news sounded pretty bad that it could be career-ending, because in 2015, I believe, he had that same type of injury at Georgia. But it's come out that he's only tore his MCL. There was no bone break, or there wasn't any other tear. So that is actually really great news for the way that looked. So hopefully, I wish Nick Chubb the best. He crushes the Steelers when we play him. He's a really good running back. I hope he's able to come back next year and pick up where he left off. It was just unfortunate. So I understand, some Browns fans are upset about that. I would be upset too. But if you look at plays like that Vontaze Burfict made against Le'Veon Bell, 7 years ago, where he tackled him and then started twisting his leg to break his leg, that's dirty. I think what Minka did was just an unfortunate football play. He just, it's less than a half of a second where Minka's coming in and then Chubb starts to turn, and he just hits him in the knee. So, other than that, the offense looked pretty bad. Again, they moved the ball a little bit. They had that big play from Pickett to Pickens there for that 71-yard touchdown. The defense looked really good. The only issue is that they continue to be gassed all game, because offense goes out, they don't get a first down, they go 3 and out, defense is back on the field. So it obviously helped that Nick Chubb wasn't in, but Deshaun Watson did not look great. He was sacked 6 times, had that interception to start the game, where even though the guy, Highsmith, caught it on the bounce, it was still a bad throw, because the Steelers player was the one to catch it first and then get hit and pop it up. So that was a really poor decision by Watson. Pickett also had a bad decision on an interception in their own zone, where he, I guess, didn't look off the linebacker, just didn't see him, and he threw it right to him. So the quarterbacks did not play very well. It's just one of the defenses stood up more than the other one. So that strip sack by Highsmith, and TJ picked it up and scored, was the winning touchdown. That was electric, and that's what you would want a defense to do. This Steelers defense is a good defense. They did get torn apart by the Niners, but I think that's more the Niners are a very good team, other than the Steelers have a very poor defense. So I'm hopeful. It sucks that Cam Hayward's been hurt. He somehow continues to get better as he gets older. All of his stats increases. He's 35 now, and he almost would have set the Steelers' all-time sack record before TJ. I think he had a couple of more sacks than TJ. I think he needed 1 or 2 to break James Harrison. So Cam Hayward, if he was healthy, he could have broken James Harrison record, and then later in the same game, TJ Watt could have tackled and broke the record again. I think that would have been really funny. And then to see them go back and forth this season to see, how many sacks each other get. But you look at TJ Watt, he's finally healthy now. He's being a menace. He gets off the ball great. They drop him in the coverage a lot more, where he fakes that first step like he's rushing and he falls back. He's very good at deflecting passes at the line. He's just, one of, if not the best defensive player of the year. So if he stays healthy and continues to do what he does, this should be his second defensive player of the year award. I mean, it should be his third, but he didn't win any of those 2 years where Gilmore or Donald won. So I'm not excited about the offense. I'm hoping this week, where Las Vegas doesn't have a great defense, they have a pretty good front line there with Crosby, but I hope that the Steelers can start to pick Las Vegas apart more so than they weren't unable to pick Cleveland apart. But Cleveland does have a very good defense. So that was week 2. So for week 3, we are starting out here with the New York Giants at the San Francisco 49ers. Both Mike and myself have picked San Francisco. I think that's a pretty easy pick. The Giants were outscored 60-0 in their first 6 quarters and then still won that game against Arizona. You would hope that they can continue carrying that momentum to try to make it kind of a game, but at the end, I think San Francisco should win by a touchdown or 2. The next game is Tennessee at Cleveland. Mike has picked Tennessee, and I've picked Cleveland. I think Cleveland bounces back this week, playing at home. Their defense is really good. I think the Tennessee defense isn't as good as the Steelers defense, so I think Deshaun Watson might have a little bit better of a time maybe running or making some throws. So I'm going with Cleveland here, and Mike is going with Tennessee. The next game, Indianapolis at Baltimore. We both picked Baltimore. I think that's a pretty easy pick. Indianapolis, unfortunately, Richardson got hurt. I'm not sure if he's been ruled out yet this week, but even so, Baltimore's playing at home. They play really well there. They have a good defense. Lamar Jackson's playing well, so we're going to go with Baltimore. Next game, Atlanta at Detroit. We both went Detroit. They had a heartbreaking loss against Seattle last week. It was a really good game. There was some holding on Aiden Hutchinson there at the winning touchdown, but you look, both teams, I think, are a lot better than people believe them to be. I mean, maybe Seattle people know are good because of last year, but Detroit unfortunately lost, but they played one hell of a game. They don't quit for Dan Campbell. They came in, they played well, so you would hope, I believe that they will carry that in and beat Atlanta this week at home. Next, we have New Orleans at Green Bay. We both have Green Bay winning. I think Jordan Love bounces back. He still didn't look terrible in that game that they lost, but I think that Green Bay should be able to pick New Orleans defense apart here, playing at home. And Green Bay should contain New Orleans pretty well. So Green Bay, both of us have winning at home over New Orleans. Next game is Houston at Jacksonville. Obviously, Jacksonville. They played Kansas City okay. I mean, they couldn't move the ball on offense, but they held Kansas City on offense to not a lot. So, obviously Houston is not anywhere close to what Kansas City is. So we both have Jacksonville winning at home this week. Next game is Denver at Miami. We both have Miami winning. I'm completely not sold, but I cannot buy in on Denver. I can't pick them until they actually come out and win. Now, they had luck on their side in week 2, where even though they blew that huge lead, they still got the Hail Mary, which is a crazy play to see. That tip happens, and then Denver catches it, but then they cannot convert the 2. There was, I believe, pass interference that was not called. But still, Denver shows those flashes. They have Russell, Hall of Fame quarterback, and I say that, not like how we say it with Derek Carr, Hall of Fame quarterback Derek Carr, but legitimately Hall of Fame quarterback Russell Wilson, and you have Sean Payton now, but they just continue to find ways to lose. So until Denver starts to win a game, I really can't pick them. But also Miami is a very good team as well, and they're playing at home. The offense is working really well, so Miami. So our next game is the Los Angeles Chargers at Minnesota Vikings. We're split on this. So Mike has LA going into Minnesota and winning, and I've picked Minnesota to win at home. I went Minnesota because, like Denver, somehow the Chargers have all this offensive power. They score a lot, but they still lose. They lost last week. I think Minnesota played Philly okay. They had that back-ended score just to kind of cover at the end of the game, but I think Minnesota should be able to beat LA at home today. So Mike has LA, and I went with Minnesota. Next game, New England at the New York Jets. We're split again. Mike went New England, and I actually went the New York Jets. They got kicked pretty hard in the teeth by Dallas, but I don't think New England is anywhere close to Dallas. I think this might be one of those games that New York should be able to maybe play and win. I think it should be a good game. I think these teams are basically about the same. Obviously, Bill Belichick is the coach of the New England Patriots, one of the best head coaches of all time. But I think there should be a good game. So I don't think whoever wins is going to win by 3 touchdowns. I think this might be a last-second field goal or a last-second score to win. But I have the Jets, and Mike has the Patriots. Next game, Buffalo at Washington. We both went Buffalo. Washington has showed that they're a very good team this year. But Buffalo, the way they got back on a roll last week against Las Vegas, I think that they should be able to continue that. They lost in New York week 1 because Josh Allen made those very poor interceptions. If not for that, they would have won pretty easily, I would say. But going into Washington, I think Washington should be able to make it a game. But Sam Howell's been playing really well as quarterback this year. As well as better than you would think that he would play, especially not really. He had that one game last year where he played pretty okay against Dallas. But we are both going Buffalo to win on the road over the Commanders. Next game, Carolina at Seattle. Both went Seattle. Seattle's continued to show. Geno Smith doesn't seem to be a one-year fluke. He's thrown the ball really well. Carolina, they almost beat New Orleans, but I don't think New Orleans is as good as Seattle is. So we're both going Seattle to pick up another win here against Carolina at home. Next game, Dallas at Arizona. Pretty easy. Dallas should be able to steamroll Arizona and win this game pretty easily. I say that, and somehow, Arizona will win like 27-7, but not really. Dallas should win this pretty easily. I mean, they tore the Jets apart. They should be able to tear the Cardinals apart. Next, we have Chicago at Kansas City. Kansas City. I mean, Chicago has looked terrible. They had a terrible week in the news this week with all the raids and stuff that happens. Until Chicago plays better, until Justin Fields played better, just like Denver, I'm not going to be picking them. I picked Chicago to win last week, and kind of embarrassed me with them going in and losing to Tampa Bay. So I'm kind of off the Chicago Justin Field bandwagon a little bit until they start to win games. But Kansas City should be able to pick them apart. It should be kind of a bloodbath today in Kansas City. Next game, Pittsburgh at Las Vegas. We both have Pittsburgh. I just feel pretty confident, not necessarily that the offense will be totally, much better, but that our defense has gotten a lot of plays. They've shown themselves what they can be. So they have some momentum going into this game. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't move that well, so they should be able to sack him a bunch. So I think this might be like I'm hoping for like a 24-14 kind of win, something like that, where we score a couple of touchdowns, get a couple of field goals, and we hold Las Vegas to like a touchdown in each half. So Pittsburgh over Las Vegas on Sunday Night Football. Then we have the 2 Monday night games, Philadelphia, Tampa Bay. We both went Philly. Tampa Bay has impressed me. Baker Mayfield has impressed me. And our initial episode, I said that Baker Mayfield is a loser, and I didn't mean that as an insult. It's just he had a really good season in Cleveland. He did get screwed over in Cleveland with them shipping him out for Deshaun Watson. I think he does have a chip on his shoulder. He had that great comeback win with the Rams last year. So he's shown me that maybe he's fully healthy. That arm is healthy of his, and so even though he's played well, Philly should be able to go into Tampa Bay and beat them. Philly has a really good defense. They always have a really good offense. So I think, though, this might be closer than some people think. It might be like a 28-21 kind of win where they have to stop Tampa Bay from tying at the end. I would really like that if that's how it goes. That would be a good game. And then the final game, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Cincinnati Bengals. Mike went the Rams, and I'm going the Bengals. The Bengals have had a slow start nearly every year under Joe Burrow, going 0-2 or 1-1. But I don't see how they can lose to Los Angeles on Monday night. I think they'll start to play better. Joe Burrow does have that injury. I'm not sure if he's been rolled out either. But still, this is Cincinnati. The last couple of years, they go 0-2 or they look bad, and then they'll go out. They might go like be 2-3 or 3-2 after 5 weeks, and then they'll rattle off 7 straight wins. So I think this is when they pick up the first win of their season, is against Los Angeles Rams. So that is our Week 3 picks. Last week, Mike went 13-3, and I went 12-4. So he picked up another. He won last week by a game. So he is at 19-13, and I am at 21-11. So just up on him by a couple of games now. So if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. Comment down below who you think will win this week, and how you think your favorite team is doing. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a nice day.